Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 1. The chapter which we are related with is absorption and marginal costing. In previous lecture, we have taken introduction of performa or format. Right now, we are associated with this statement written over here. We need to make an income statement according to absorption costing, and we need to make an income statement related to margin costing. But here you can see this question is divided into two parts. We have data for 2 months, July and August data is present. Overall, it means this question has four parts. That means we will calculate absorption costing for the month of July and absorption costing for the month of August. Then we will see marginal costing for the month of July and marginal costing for the month of August. This way we will complete our four parts. And now let's start from absorption costing. So we will try to complete all four parts, but let's say we will try to do absorption costing for first and second month first. Let's see if we can complete it in our given time. Here we are going to complete income statement according to absorption costing, but we will be related with the month of June only. So what we are going to do, we will first, okay, it was July, not June. So here we will change it for the month of July. This separated statement first we will calculate on left part of the page, and similarly we will be making income statement for July as well. Okay, for July, and we will complete for August as well. Here we will make our income statement for August. Methodology would be similar, and since we are solving income statement according to absorption costing, so a sort of repetition would be present over here. The very first thing which we are going to elaborate over here would be sales, and then we will subtract cost of sales over here. Cost of sales, as in previous lectures, we have understood that we need to have opening stock. Then we usually add purchase. But here we will not add purchase. In manufacturing, we add production. Okay, again listen. What we do usually, we add purchase over here. But instead of adding purchase, from now we will be using production cost, and then you will subtract your closing stock over here. In this way, total production cost will come and you will subtract, and finally you will get your gross profit over here, after which we will again subtract our operating costs. So here we will be writing our operating cost, and in operating cost what we usually have: selling, admin, selling expenses, marketing expenses, and admin expenses. Normally these sort of expenses would be present. And here I would like to introduce a new phenomena over here, and I need your attention. This is very important for you. Here you will see if there is any under or over applied FH. Under or over applied FH, which would be associated with only fixed FH. So you may write it under or over applied fixed FH. How would we calculate it? Under or over applied FH. Basically, we will see how many number of unit this organization can produce. If organization had produced same number of unit, it means there will not be any under or over applied FH. But if company has produced less number of unit, it would be under applied. Here you can see normal production in units. You will see first. I'm giving you an example. If company can produce 10,000 number of units or 100 number of unit company can produce, but in case actual production which company had done, that is 100, so it means there is no variance as production is according to their normal production. In the similar way, since it's first question, it is important for you to understand it, without which it would be little difficult. Okay, normal production was 100 in second example, but they have produced only 80 units. So what you will say? There is a variance. In previous example, what you have done, normal production of unit was 100, produced 100. There was no variance. But here the case is different. Normal production was 100 and you have produced only 80 units. It means you have at your under production, it would be called under applied. And in case if your normal production was if your normal production was 100 but you have produced 120 unit, so it means you are produced more number of units than normal, it would be called over applied production. So hopefully you have understood this phenomena, and I need you to understand in a very proper manner. These are three cases in which you will decide how and when something would be under applied, over applied, or with no variance. Please keep it in mind. You will see the capacity of organization. If capacity of organization is followed, there would not be any variance. And if production is, if number of units produced are less, you will call it under applied production. If number of units produced are more, then you will call it over applied production. Almost in every question you will have to face this situation. You will follow what normal production is and you will follow what actual production is. So that is why we have introduced this fact over here. If it is under applied, you will add, as usual in previous chapters we have learned, under applied would be added, and in introductory lecture we have also decided it, sign for under applied plus sign for over applied would be subtracted. Obviously in single question there will be only one, either it would be as under applied or it would be as over applied. Under or over cannot be present in single questions. So this is our performer, and secondly here you will use next line for the units, then per unit, and here you will write amount for inner line, and here the main column where you will put the final amounts. So now we are going to see our question and we'll follow the instructions given in the questions. Let's see. First effect or the first impact or the first step would be whatever is written over here, we will be copying these amounts and directly be posting in our questions. So first is unit produced. We have produced written over here, and 1000 numbers are one 10,000 number of units are produced. This is written over here. You can see number of unit produced in July 10,000. Then units sold are 5,000. Come over here. 5,000 number of units are sold. Alright, so here little more space we need. Then next what is said, 5 lakh is fixed manufacturing cost. Okay, this would not directly be used, indirect we will be using it. Unit selling price is 500. Selling price, this is your sales, and per unit you will be writing over here 500. Okay, when we will be discussing this under applied or over applied, you will have to focus upon here. You had produced 10,000 number of units. Normal production is not mentioned in the question, but this would be considered as your normal production as you have produced 10,000 units. Later on we will discuss it again. Okay, since our production has been started in July, there will not be any opening stock, so you can directly write it as here. Closing stock we will see later on, and we were here. Variable cost 250 and fixed cost is, variable cost is 250, variable cost and fixed cost is 50. At here you will create your working, and as you know that your total cost is sum of fixed cost and variable cost. This you have understood, it was just an example, so we are taking it little more downside. And if it is total cost, then you can also calculate per unit total cost is equal to per unit fixed cost, and then you will add per unit variable cost. What is given in your question, you can see per unit variable cost is 250 already available, so you will write 250 at here, and then you need to add what, per unit variable cost. Per unit fixed cost was 50 I think, and per unit variable cost was 250. So there were two factors, 250 and 50. Let's check it out again. 250 was variable cost and fixed cost was 50. So 50 and 250, now you can calculate 50 plus 250. This is your total cost we have calculated, but it is total per unit cost. Now we are very open. For opening stock, same 300 would be used. For production, same 300 would be used. For closing stock, same 300 would be used. So it's important, you will have to calculate this per unit cost as your first step. Once it would be calculated, you will be directly putting over here as your per unit cost. Since cost of production would be similar for opening stock and similar for closing stock, that is why 300 is repeated everywhere. Let's go back to the question and see what else we have. Marketing expenses 120 and administrative 130. As you can see that selling expenses and marketing expenses are written over here. So what is selling? Marketing 120,000. So here you can write 120,000. And second expense is administrative expenses 1,30,000. Selling expenses are not present. In this way, when you will subtract your operating cost from gross profit, you will get your net profit. Performa is completed, but here you can see the most important part was this amount column. And can you imagine, nothing has been written over here up till now, and this performa is totally dependent upon this column where we will write the finalized amounts. First of all, directly you will write your sales. How you will calculate sales? We do know number of units and we do have per unit. So you will multiply units and per unit to calculate the amount. Number of units sold are 5,000 and per unit cost is 500. So we have got our amount of sales. Remaining everything would be calculated over here. Opening stock, since we do not have, it was the starting month, we do not have any opening stock, it was 0. So calculation of opening stock are 0. Then we will see production, 10,000 units are produced and per unit total cost was 300. It means we have calculated our production cost. Now closing stock, units are not present over here. You can see closing stock or opening stock are not discussed over here. It is our discretion to decide. It is our responsibility to decide how many number of units at starting of the period or how many number of units are present at the end of the period. As it was mentioned, it is first month, so there are no units at starting of the period. We have written 0. So please guess over here. The only visible thing is this column. From here, decide, is there any closing stock? You see, you have produced 10,000 units, but out of these 10,000 units, you have sold only 5,000 number of units. So what would be your conclusion? 5,000 units are still unsold, and these unsold units would be considered as closing stock. I'm repeating it again. You have produced 10,000 number of units, out of which only 5,000 units you were able to sell. It means remaining 5,000 units are still in hand. So this would be your closing stock units. Per unit cost we have already mentioned. Now we are open to calculate our closing stock. How? 5,000 number of units and it would be multiplied by per unit 300. So we have got our closing stock. And then we were supposed to see if there is under or over applied. That is not present right now. No under applied, over applied. Why? Because there was no normal production given in the question, first element, and secondly this was the total production 10,000 and we don't know how many number of unit this organization can produce. So in this case there will not be any under or over applied. Now everything has been put in production column. This is our production cost and we can now finalize our total cost. Please you will have to be very attentive because we are uh, including their signs as well. This was your opening stock and you need to add, so put sign of add over here. What? Production cost, which was 30 lakh, and again you need to subtract what? Closing stock, which was 15 lakh. And since there is no under or over applied FH, so you do not need to consider it. So finally we have got our cost, which is 15 lakh. Please understand, opening stock and then add production cost, then subtract closing stock, and finally we have got the amount, which is 15 lakh. So in third column there will only be two amounts: how much we have received from sales and how much cost of sales. In this way we can calculate our gross profit. This gross profit we will be calculating over here. How? By subtracting our cost from sales. So sale was 25 lakh and your total cost was 15 lakh. So we have got our gross profit. And how did we calculate it? By subtracting cost, by subtracting total cost from sales. Here it's better to write over here and you will call it total, we will write over here total cost. Okay, total cost was 5,000 15 lakh, and when you have subtracted this 15 lakh from 25 lakh, you have your gross profit, which is 10 lakh. In this way, our calculations have been completed for gross profit. Okay, beside this, let me complete this column, and we need to put lines over here. Okay, please look at the shape of the question. In this column, you will only be having amount of sale and total cost, and nothing else would be written over here. This was your total cost. In this way, gross profit has been calculated. A little more space is needed. Then you need to add all operating cost. You have selling and admin cost. Selling was 120,000. Add your admin expenses. In this way, this is your total cost. It's time to finalize your net margin, and how you will calculate your net margin by subtracting operating cost from gross profit. This way you can calculate your net profit. So how much was gross profit? That was 1 million, and you need to subtract your operating cost. That was 250,000. In this way you have calculated your net profit, which is 7,50,000. Okay, look over here. First answer for absorption is given. That was 7,50,000. In this way we have completed one part, that means absorption costing for July. Now for uh, August, what you will do, you need to have same, everything would be same, but obviously the inputs would be different. So you need your sales, and then you will subtract your cost of sales, with which you will start opening stock, and then you will add production cost, will subtract closing stock, and this will calculate your total cost. After which you will see if there is any under or over applied. By doing this, you will be able to calculate your total cost. When you will subtract this total cost, that would be our gross profit. After which you will subtract your operating cost, which includes selling, admin, and marketing expenses. By subtracting operating cost, finally we will be able to get our net profit. Okay, listen, it was very easy for me to copy these amounts, and I was able to paste over here. But instead of doing it, I'm just letting you know that practice is very important. So the show which has been made over here right now, it was just to uh, just you just to get you realize that you will have to make the practice. It was easy for me, but since you will be doing the same thing again and again on your paper, that's what I have done over here as well. Come over here and see what is the difference in August. Unit produced in July was 10,000, but unit produced in August is 5,000. This is very important. Please keep it in mind. So unit produced, little more space we will make over here. So 5,000 number of units are produced, then units sold are 10,000. Again a difference, 10,000 number of units are sold. We will hire these headings from here to here. Okay, let's go. Fixed cost which will be used indirectly. Unit selling price is 500. So it means 500 would be used over here. Then next, 250 variable cost. Again you will be calculating your total per unit cost. And how do you calculate per unit total cost? Total per unit cost would be per unit fixed cost, and then you will add per unit variable cost. And in question it has been mentioned again, variable cost is 250 and 50 is fixed cost. So we can write 50 as variable cost, then add 250 variable cost and 50 fixed cost. Finally we can add it, 50 plus 250. So we have total cost, total per unit cost is 300, which is similar to first part as well. So here you have calculated income statement for absorption costing. Per unit cost was 300, and it is also absorption costing, but per unit cost is similar, 300. So we can put production cost, which we have recently calculated, 300 over here, and I have said 300 would be same for opening and closing stocks as well, though we haven't decided how much is opening stock and how many number of units are for closing stock. But here we will see how these number of units can be written. But go back to the question, see anything else. Marketing and admin expenses are given 120, 130, similar. So here marketing and admin expenses 120,000. Okay, we can write over here 120,000 and 130,000. Let's see if there is anything else. No, it means everything written over here has been put. It's time to see your calculation. First we will see sales, and as I have mentioned, this column would be used for your calculation. So put a line, and this is main column. Remaining everything would be used for calculations. Okay, first we will calculate sales and would be written over here. How? We have number of units present over here and per unit is also present. We can calculate the amount of sales. Number of units multiply by per unit. So we have got our amount. Number of units sold were written over here 10,000, and 500 was the sale price written over here. We have got our sale price. Opening stock, this is a trick and you have to consider it, how to calculate or how to conclude about opening stock. Please look at over here, closing stock for previous month. It means last date for previous month. At last date of previous month we were having 5,000 number of units, and obviously at start of next month you will be having 5,000. So closing stock of previous month would be considered as opening stock of next month. So we have 5,000 number of units over here. Okay, since it was just coincidence that 300 cost and this 300 cost is similar, so it is not necessary that per unit cost of closing stock and per unit cost of opening stock, there might be some difference, but it's coincidence in this question everything is same. As you can see, your marketing admin is same, your selling price is same, so it's a coincidence just in case the question. Closing stock units, that's what you will calculate. Okay, you will have to conclude by yourself. Last month's there was a closing number of unit 5,000. It was balanced units. That means we were already having 5,000 number of unit. This month we have produced 5,000 additional number of unit. Total 10,000 units we were having for the month of August. And how many number of units you have sold? 10,000. It means how many number of units should be present in your pocket. Listen again. You were having 5,000 at start, produced 5,000, total 10,000 units were in your pocket and you have sold 10,000. That means no number of units should be present right now. All units which were produced and were present in opening stock, you have sold all of the units. So there is no closing stock. Now we can complete our production cost. This whole phenomena is our production cost. Units multiplied by per unit. This way we can calculate amount of opening stock. Units are 5,000 and we will multiply per unit 300. Opening stock has been calculated. Now we will calculate our production cost. Units multiply by per unit, which is 300 production cost. This way you have calculated production cost, and since no unit in closing stock, so closing stock would be 0, and then we will decide if there is any under over applied fixed cost. For this you will have to be dependent upon yourself again. Book will not help you, question will not help you, you will have to decide by yourself. Come over here. Since in first month you have produced 10,000 number unit, it means this is capacity of this organization, that in a single month they can produce 10,000 units, while in July they have produced only 5,000 units. It means they have underproduced. I'm repeating this thing. Look over here. Since normal production was not given in the question, but here we can estimate, or we can imagine that in 1 month this company can produce 10,000 number of units. Then it was meant to produce same number of units over here, but instead of 10,000 they have produced only 5,000. So there is underproduction. 5,000 number of units are not produced, so we are going to conclude here it is not over produce, rather we will conclude under applied, and this under applied would only be for fixed expenses. Keep it in mind, this is first time we are calculating under or over applied, so I am letting you to keep it in your mind that under or over applied is a concept which would only be used for fixed expenses, for fixed costs only. Go to the question and see what is per unit cost of fixed assets. Look at here. Per unit fixed cost is given over here, which is 50. So you can put per unit cost 50 over here. This way it is, as you can see, it is under applied. So finally we will see it would be added. Total under applied cost, how we can calculate, units are 5,000 and it would be multiplied by per unit cost. It would be multiplied by per unit cost, which is 50. So we have calculated under applied. Now it's time to calculate our total cost. Look at here. We can write it as total cost. So here it should be like this. Okay, that's what I was wanted. Total cost we want to calculate. Little more size I need to develop. Okay, one more size. How would you calculate? Look, with every element present over here, sign is also present. Add, less, add. So you will follow the same signs to calculate total cost. First is opening stock, then you need to add your production cost, which is 15 lakh, and next is less is your closing stock, no matter if it is 0, but we are calculating. And then you need to add what under applied fixed cost, which is 250,000, and then you will follow all of these instructions, you will get your total cost, which is 32 lakh 50,000. So now when total cost is calculated, we are open to calculate our gross profit. How do we calculate gross profit, which is difference between cost and sales? So here, how much total sale was, you can see here 5 million was the total cost, and you will subtract 5 million was the total amount of sales, and total cost was 32 lakh 50,000. Then you will subtract, you will get your gross profit. This way our gross profit has been completed. Next is to calculate our operating cost. There are only two elements present in operating cost. We will sum up. First was 1,30,000 and then add 1,20,000. This way you have calculated your total operating cost. Final step is to see how much is our net margin or net profit. This way, this is our net profit. How do we calculate? It is difference between gross profit and operating cost. So gross profit was 17,50,000. You will subtract your operating cost, which was 250,000, and this way we have calculated our net profit. Go to the question and you can see second answer was 15 lakh. First answer was 750,000. First answer 750,000, second answer 15 lakh. So both aspects have been completed. Income statement for July and income statement for August we were making. Kindly keep it in mind, this performa would 100% be same, and this would not going to be changed. It means we will follow the same performa in second question, third question, fourth question, if we are observing absorption costing. And in margin costing, in next lecture we will see how to calculate our net margin under marginal costing. Since time had been taken for these two statements, I'm hopeful that within next question there will be short time taken. Short time would be taken for the solution of next question, because how time spent over here to make you understand the statement as well. So this was our first question, that is why little more time has been taken, and in next question we will try to complete absorption and margin costing at the same time. So consider it part A, where we have completed absorption costing for July and August. Now you can see this is your performa, this is your answer, this is your question. If you are feeling any difficulty regarding this question, you are very open to ask your question through messages, texts, or you can directly meet. For the time being, question 1 of absorption costing and margin costing has been ended. This is first part, and then we will solve marginal costing. Two answers are available over here. We will solve this question for margin costing as well in next part. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I am requesting you to please pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. It's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.